Okay, here comes the best part of this build. Okay, here comes the best part of this whole build so far. Oh, just kidding. Hey guys, we're gonna have a look at a couple of things today. We're gonna look at some interior disassembly because I want to take some stuff out of the interior, including the seats, so that I can give the carpets a really good clean and just, you know, pick out the loose change that we're gonna find under everything. So we're gonna look at taking some of that interior stuff out. We're also gonna look at taking apart just some of the trims that are on the A, B, and C pillars, so that we can take the roof rails off. I think the car is gonna look a lot cleaner without roof rails, and it'll bug my buddy Blake to have the roof rails off, so that's part of my plan for today. Another thing we're going to look at is some dash disassembly, because I want to take the stereo out to add an auxiliary plug to the back so that we can hook up our music and listen to it in the car from our cell phone. So let's get into it. So when you're removing your front seats, basically what you're going to do is or what I like to do is move the seat all the way to the forwardmost position, remove the two rear bolts, and you might have to take off a couple of pieces of plastic trim if they haven't been removed, because a lot of them end up just disappearing over the years. But there's a plastic pop plug and a little set screw or a little T25 body screw that you have to take out to remove those plastic covers, and then you'll have access to the seat bolts, which are a triple square head, so hopefully you've got a set of triple squares handy. Remove the two rear bolts, and then move the seat all the way back to remove the two front bolts. And then one thing to keep in mind if you have power seats is that as soon as you unplug those seats underneath, you're not going to be able to move it forward or back or up or down anymore. So what I like to do is, after I've got all four bolts out of the seat rails, before I remove the seat or tilt it back to unplug the electrical connections, what I like to do is put the seat in its lowest position and about halfway on the rails, so that the rails aren't sticking out very far ahead of the seat or behind the seat. It just makes it easier to get out the door once you go to remove it completely, because you won't have that piece of seat rail sticking way out. And I find that's handy because the door is like only just big enough to fit the seat out through, and if your rails are sticking out either way, there's a good chance you're gonna hook it on some of your trim and put a big scratch in it, something like that. So you want to avoid that by putting the seat in the middle of the rails. And then what I do is I just tilt the whole assembly back, and then I get in with a little angled pick and undo the four electrical plugs. There's an airbag plug which is yellow, and it's a little press that you do with your fingers. And then the other three, you can do them with your fingers as well, but I like to use just that little pick. I just sort of take one of the sides of the plug off its little tab, and then the whole plug comes out nice and easy. Now, to get at those electrical connections, and another thing to mention is there's a plastic cover that's over top of everything. So that plastic cover, you'll see where it is because the wires go in under it. You can just pull that plastic cover off, it just pops right out. And then to take the bundle of wires out of the little holder, there's two clips on either side of the bundle of wires. You're going to want to take those out as well, and then you can remove the seat. Now, to remove the rear seat pad, this one's very easy. Basically, you're just going to pull up at the front. It's got two little metal hoops that slide into some holes, and then you're just going to pull that seat pad forward. Now, when it comes to taking apart the center console, there's a lot of guides online that are very good to explain how to do that, and there's a ton of bolts that you need to take out. There are a couple tiny little things that I want to explain. So here's something that I've always found to be tricky, is removing the e-brake handle. Now, you see it's got this little tang on the bottom here, and that's what engages with a little hook on the handle in here, and keeps your handle or your cover from coming off the handle. So it's a tricky one to get at, because when it's installed, you know, you look at your e-brake handle here and you've got a little access right in the bottom here, and you kind of think, okay, well, I'm supposed to come in with my screwdriver and get in there through that little access and do something to release it. But it's not that simple, unfortunately. And what you have to do is you got to come in sort of on an angle and get under that little tang, or get on top of it, push it away from the handle, and then you'll be able to slide your cover off. And I'm going to try and do that right now. Hopefully it doesn't take me too many tries. Having an extra light helps. So I'm getting in here. I've seen my little tang on the cover here, gotten in with the screwdriver, and I can just sort of pry it down a little bit and get that to unhook so that my cover comes right off. And the other thing I want to explain is just with regards to the radio. I find, and I think that a lot of people probably have the same issue, that the radio can be very difficult to get out of this car because the little locking tabs can be a little bit finicky, or if somebody's had it in and out a few times before, they can get damaged. So one trick that I've found that makes my life a lot easier when removing a radio in one of these is just to remove that trim panel that's under the steering wheel or steering column on the left hand side, and to remove your glove box, because both of those take no time at all to remove. And then what that allows you to do is get your hands in behind this cage here so that you can get at the back side of the radio and actually give it a push. And that'll just help too when you're putting your keys in to unlock the stereo or to get it loose from its mountings. When you put that key in, if you've got a little bit of pressure on the back side, you'll know if it engages the key properly and releases, because it'll move a little bit. So that'll make it a little bit easier, because sometimes you just got to learn how to do those by feel. Now there are some pretty good guides online about how to remove the headliner. And if you want to remove the roof rails from your Avant, I would suggest you look up one of those headliner removal threads DIY guides, because there's a lot of detail that I don't need to go into here. But there are a couple of points that I'm just going to talk about that I found a little bit tricky following one of those guides. So I would say have a look at one of those, read through it, and then check out the tips that I have, and that'll probably help you a lot in order to make sure you get all those trims off without breaking anything. So sometimes I find it handy to be able to see the backside of the parts that I'm taking off before I take them off, which is challenging when you're doing something for the first time, so maybe this will help a few of you out there. What we're looking at here is the A-pillar. And when you're taking it off, you'll notice, like this is after you've removed your grab handle from here, and you've removed the screw that's under this little airbag piece of plastic here. So you pop that off with your pick and remove that screw. You've removed that, and you've removed your sun visors. When you go to pull this off, you'll notice you've got, there's a little spring tab here that's going to come out when you pull the whole assembly backwards. But before you get to that, you're actually going to give it a good sharp pull in the sort of middle part of that A-pillar to dislodge these three little spring clips that are right here. So you've got 1, 2, 3 of these little spring clips here. You're going to want them to just pop off, and then you'll notice over here you've got a little slot, and that fits onto this little guy right here. So what you're going to do is, once you've popped those 3 spring clips out of these 3 slots in the A-pillar, boop, you're going to pull the whole assembly back like this and off of that. And that's going to keep you from breaking anything. Now with regards to this cover for the B-pillar here, you can see I've already got mine off because the seat belt's out of it. But basically what happens with this when you want to take it off is you're going to pull the bottom out, and then you're going to pull these tabs out of the top. So basically on the back side here, you can see we've got a couple of those metal spring clips. This one's stayed in the door here, or in the B-pillar. But basically what you're trying to do is just pull on the bottom of this cover so that those 2 spring clips come out. And then we've got a couple of plastic tabs here that just slide up. I don't know if you can see in here, there's just a couple little slots where those fit into the chassis here. So so those fit up in there, and with your spring clips holding in at the bottom, you pop those off and pull that out, and then you can just slide the seatbelt through the hole. That's assuming, of course, that you've got the seats out like I do and your seatbelt is already unhooked. Now the tricky thing about this is these little spring clips, because they're super strong, like way stronger than they need to be. But when you go to pull that out, if you just grab it in the middle and give it a yank, what'll probably happen is they'll pull out of your plastic, and what you can do is end up breaking them. This one, you can see it's a little bit cracked here because I wasn't careful enough. Now, if you're doing this, a good way to do it is to try and get in behind it with like a small pry tool, and then just get close to that spring and then pop it out. You know, ideally if you can get your tool hooked into one of these tabs so that you can pop that whole thing out, that's the best, and that'll keep you from busting your pieces up. Now the whole reason for doing this in my case was to be able to take the roof racks off. So now that I've got the trims out and I can get access to everything, there's 3 nuts that hold the roof racks in place, and they line up with, surprisingly, the 3 spots in the rack that touch the roof. Now you'll see from the inside here, there's 3 holes. I've got one here. I don't know if you can see up in that hole, but you can see outside where I've already removed it. But there's a hole here. You've got a hole just about halfway down the car right here, just by the C-pillar actually. And then there's a third one. Now I haven't removed the trim at the back here completely, but I was able to sneak in at the back, and there's a third hole just in there that you can get at. So once you get it access to those 3 holes, I think it's a 13 millimeter nut, and you can just unscrew that, and that'll let you take your roof racks off. Okay, are you guys ready for the best part of this entire build so far? Check it out. Oh yeah! No more roof racks. So one issue with removing these roof rails is that now obviously I have this hole in my roof, and if I put the car outside now and it gets rained on, I'm gonna have rain coming into the inside of the car. So what I'm gonna do to try and fix that is I've got some Delrin that I'm going to machine down into a plug that's just about the size of that hole, and then I'll thread it from the bottom and throw a bolt in to hold it in with a little bit of sealant, and I think it's gonna look pretty clean. So now that I have the seats out of the car and part of the interior apart, I was able to vacuum and shampoo the carpet and make it look all nice and spiffy for once. And from here we can put everything back together and maybe make a couple of modifications. So stay tuned, join us next time, and we'll have a look at some more stuff in this B6A4.